provided, it goes on, 702 had been provided for Arabic from BBC One. It was closed until now, never meant for cross-Gulf transmissions. It has a separate 1413 frequency for that, which also carried Farsi until it was closed in 2023. That hindrance may prevent its use now. Wolfgang Bishop says Oman is on exactly 702, but the Iran transmitter measured on 701.978. And Mike Cooper, a letter to the editor of the Daily Telegraph from Fiona Kraft, and director of BBC World Service, says despite some claims made by your commentators, BBC journalism is continuing to provide a lifeline to the Iranian people. BBC launched an emergency radio service on medium and shortwave to Iran to combat the digital blackout in the country. Although BBC News has banned in Iran a quarter of its access our news services in Persian on TV and across digital platforms. Being a BBC journalist takes a huge personal toll on staff who, along with their families, are harassed, targeted, and threatened by the Iranian state. We are hugely proud of their courage and their work, which also informs our domestic coverage. Our English language coverage began on December 28th and has continued across all BBC platforms, even without our journalists having been allowed into the country. And more broadcasting into Iran from communication with the British Press Club. Steve Nielsen reported to WRDH-FD on 22 January. Radio Zalmanev, an Amsterdam-based Iran opposition station, will be heard from today daily at 1930 to 2030 on 6010 via Bulgaria. Another reference to the 864 kHz transmission we mentioned earlier under Armenia, and it's referred to as being from the Kyrgyzstan. It's not listed for either country in the WRTH frequency pages. Linear kilohertz, megahertz, and gigantic hertz. World of Radio 2334. A non-commercial service like our website, worldofradio.com. Our thanks this week for financial support from Michael Blue in Texas. Send a contribution via PayPal to WORADIO@yahoo.com. You may also contribute via money order or check on U.S. Bank to PO Box 1684, ENID OK 72703. Calling the North, Wolfgang Bishop explains the appearance of two separate programs on the same frequencies at once from Voice of Korea. He says probably thinking heavy icing and snowfall on their long shear lines and antennas on the transmitter house. This results in missing audio feed content. Irregular as has happened often at the Kojang location in the past decade. And this should not affect languages once the inclement weather has improved at the Kojang location. Says the Tom transmitter site is still on shortwave, at least for the Persian service, daily at 08 to 10 UT on an odd frequency, 7249.861, with a 30/9 signal, and it is broadband 18 kHz live audio from 7241 to 7259. Lots more monitoring this week on the reactivated shortwave services from Malaysia at 11885 and 15295. Ron Howard received this reply from Mohammed Yusuf bin Azizi of the Shortwave Operations Unit. RTM is currently in the testing and evaluation phase. Both transmission performance and program content are still under assessment. We're planning to commence official shortwave broadcasting starting on the 1st of March. Further info will be announced accordingly once it is officially launched. Thanks for your valuable monitoring and feedback. Sometimes the program feeds have been reversed between VFM and National FM, according to monitoring by Zaharis Gangas and others. He says, according to research, VOM discontinued its shortwave service on 31 August 2011. Mike Barton in Arizona says on February 7th, an ID at 1630 on 11885. We've been hearing this station for several days here at various times, often with heavy metal and hard rock. Could this be Malaysia? Did they play that? also like AM 1660 The Barrett. That's KBRE in Merced, California. And Real DX, John Faulkner in Lincolnshire, reports on 729 kilohertz what is apparently Radio Kano in Nigeria, but hard to catch an ID. Mika Michelainen in Finland replies, "You certainly did hear Radio Kano. I've been hearing it for hours on many nights. IDs are rare. Program content is exactly what I have heard as well. The station does not seem to care about reception reports. Coincidentally, February Service in Greece says ERA Athens on 729 kilohertz has once again gone silent as of February 5th. North America, presumably, I've heard that presidential pirate again on 9025 AM, Friday, February 6th. Transmissions of a few minutes each, excerpts from speeches by JFK and FDR. Going off and on the air several times as late as 1740. On February 12th, they returned to the radio background in 1853. Still tuned to 9025, there it was again. A few weeks ago, we caught Antichrist Pirate Station YHWH in the afternoon on 15400. And he showed up there again on February 12th, heard by Rick Barton in Arizona. That is UT February 12th, as late as 0115. Also heard by Eric Fetterswolf in Washington State. And at 0135 by Ron Howard. Later on in the evening, back to 7475. Rick Barton in Arizona also heard something on 27125 HCB frequency at 1930, February 9th. An actual ad spot for some health insurance claim. And also illegal. There are a couple of text spots in Arizona that in the past ran commercials on Channel 19, 27185 for trucker services at their locations. This was not the next split coming in on 11 meters. Palestine, according to a social media news aggregator, Codes Network, there's a new radio station called Gaza, presumably FM like the others. Reports on 4905 during the daily English hour from Zhejiang Radio and TV. That's 1635 UT, February 11th. Well heard via remote and across Russia. There's a segment Eyes on Zhejiang playing indigenous music and stories about rural Tibet. Of course, I must add, under Chicom control, UK, Andy Reid forwards a story from The Guardian, February 10th. BBC World Service faces funding cliff edge for 7 weeks, says Tim Davey. The Director General warns of the dangers of cutting back the service. BBCWS will run out of funding in just 7 weeks with no future deal with the government currently in place, says Tim Davey. This uncertainty comes as disinformation is flooding the digital sphere at an incredible speed. Davey said the future of the World Service is now front and center of discussions over the renewal of the BBC's charter. We're waiting to hear the outcome of the settlement, the current funding arrangement with the Foreign Office. Ministers have been sympathetic to the idea that the World Service is a powerful instrument of soft power. However, funding across Whitehall remains incredibly tight. Beyond the White House Curtain is a book by Steve Herman, formerly with VOA. He says the hardcover version was published in June 2024, and a soft cover is coming out early in March, with an updated preface focusing on what happened with VOA in 25. There's also an ebook and an audiobook, someone else narrating. Most of the book covers the historical relationship between the press and U.S. presidents. It is available at bookshop.org. Atlantic.com, February 11th. What is currently trying to achieve? She wanted to run Voice of America to be MAGA's broadcaster to the world. Then she wanted to shut down Voice of America after Trump and Elon Musk turned against it. During her 11 months as the de facto leader of the U.S. Agency for Global Media, Blake has done profound damage to America's foreign broadcasters and to America's ability to communicate with the world. Via Mike Cooper from the New York Times, February 7th. Will demolition cranes come after this next? It's the Wilbur J. Cohen Federal Building from 1940, originally the home of the Social Security Administration, but lately of the Voice of America. There are New Deal gems, miraculously well-preserved set of murals produced by two of America's greatest political artists, Philip Custon and Ben Shaw. The building relatively few tourists have seen or visited, and until recently may not have been aware of. The Wilbur J. Cohen Federal Building. It's just 2 blocks from the U.S. Capitol, facing the National Mall, with 1 million square feet of granite and limestone structure. It had been closed to the general public, but the GSA is starting a limited number of public tours. The building is apparently now for sale and possible demolition. John Filiozzi says apparently some of the murals can be seen in a November 2025 article at Arch. From IFB via Alan Rowe, Radio Mystery Theater listings for the rest of February. These are Saturdays at 13 UT on 15770, repeated on Sundays at 04 on 9395, and the following Friday at midnight UT on 5950. Starting February 14th, it's Johnny Madero Pier 23 radio show, The Fatal Auction of 1947. On February 21st, Weird Circle radio show, Frankenstein 1927. And February 28th, the Whistler radio show, Death Laughs Last, from 1945. Martin Dawson's Radio Mystery Theater. After coming off the air due to the ice storm in Nashville, WWCR came up again on one frequency, February 6th. First noted by Ron Trotter, 8.5. And through the following Thursday, that's remained the only frequency in use, that is in the daytime, but such a 1 repeater 4840. Loading on transmitters back on the internet. So, VORW could be heard again, February 9th at 0500 on 4840. It was coming in 60 over 9 here direct. There's an update from the WWCR website, working to restore all frequencies. Until then, all content can be heard online. USA Dawn, when shooting for Indonesia on 9690 via remote in Asia. Ron Howard was shot to hear the disgraced dead gospel huckster Tony Alamo. 9690, February 9th, 2020 until 2058. But where was this coming from? Well, I see that registered in HFCC and WRTH at that time on that frequency is 500 kilowatts from Issoudun, France, carrying Pan-American Broadcasting. It used to carry him now Equatorial Guinea. Alamo, of course, died in prison in 2017 while serving a 175-year conviction for multiple sex crimes. Although his minister survived to be longer, apparently slow. Alamo used to be well heard in North America after midnight around here. Put on 9960 or 7260. Unfortunately, their current frequency is 5040. Ron Howard says he cannot hear it via New Zealand remote before 0700. But was hearing it after 0705 on February 10th. All I get is a JBA carrier on 5040, usually along with Solomon Islands JBA carrier on 5020. From the Adventure Reader, Vatican News reports, Vatican Radio celebrates 95 years with a new jingle, marking its 95th anniversary on February 12th. Renewing and relaunching one of the most recognizable elements of its identity. The project includes 4 main jingles, all based on the Christus Vincit theme, each designed to accompany a different moment of the radio day. Morning, afternoon, and night. And 2 short jingles, using the incipit of the theme, while the second reprises its ending, creating an immediate and recognizable connection with the original sonic branding. All jingles will be broadcast simultaneously on the Italian language channel and across Vatican Radio's 30 web radios, creating a wide-ranging shared listening experience. Speaking of religionism, Ramadan will take place this year from about 17 February to 20 March. as noted in communication of the British Space Club, where restricted service stations will be on FM in 8 locations. But we say, look out for special or extended shortwave broadcasts from Islamic countries. The propagation outlet commenced from the PC issued February 9th. 0 magnetic field expected to be Minnesota active on these dates. February 9th and 10th. And the quiet side is February 11th to 15th, 22nd, 23rd, 26th to March 4th. Quiet side draft is back on February 16th to 21st, 24th, 25th, March 5th to 7th. A and K in the Seas, 15 and 4, February 16th to 21st, March 5th and 6th. Picking up 20 and 5 on February 24th and 24th. Quiet Estates at 5 at 2, Ohio, 17th to 15th, and 27th to March 4th. Solar flux rising from 140 February 14th, dropping to 180 on the 18th, and down to 130 by February 25th. Much more info consult our website, worldofradio.com, with many thanks to all our contributors and stations. Although you'll hear me again next week. Glenn Hauser concluding World of Radio 2334 with a standard disclaimer.
With transmitters located in Germany, this is Shortwave Radio.